Good morning, LinkedIn. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to a special edition of Let's Build. Finally got a developer on the show. How you doing, Anton?
Hi, nice to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. It's probably been too long, but whether some of us like it or not, development is an important part of I think getting the most out of HubSpot as a platform. Um, and we're gonna talk about some basics today. You're gonna show us some cool stuff, but I need your help. First unpacking a little bit of baggage I have related to this, in that you know, again, it speaks to why HubSpot can be very special. I think, but how you build it out matters. And last year, when I got to my first inbound, and it's like customization this, like extensibility that, and I start having flashbacks to you know 2015, when I'm trying to do everything I can in Salesforce, and I can do whatever I want, but I got to pay somebody every time I need to do something or fix something. Or and you hear about these managed services contracts dependent on these developers. Help me
Yeah.
unpack that in terms of why HubSpot can be different. It can certainly be the same, but there is a path towards maybe not being so scary.
Um, yeah, so what's I think the thing that scares most people is just the fact that HubSpot uses its own templating language, which is called Hubble. And once you get into it, it's very easy because it's a mix of HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript. So again, once you're getting started with Hubble, it's very easy. And I still remember the time when I started with HubSpot development, and it was like, okay, this is HubSpot, this is the documentation. We need a ready to go website in 2 weeks. So basically. And HubSpot back then, I maybe should mention that I am doing this for 7, 8 years. And HubSpot back then was a completely different experience. So for people who are working with HubSpot for something like that amount of time, they know what I'm talking about. And over the years, I got into the HubSpot community, which helped me a lot, just in terms of learning stuff. Mm, because I was working as a developer for a partner agency, and that means that every client, every project was specific. This means I couldn't do a lot of things with default modules and what HubSpot had available back then. So this resulted in I had to develop everything from scratch, or most things from scratch. And yeah, this is how I got into development.
So when did it click for you, I guess, like why it's important to kind of learn this language of Hubble if you're going to, put the effort into a website in HubSpot?
I would say so. The moment it clicked was when I understood that you can build personalized web experiences with an incredible uh yeah, like a super clean code. Yeah, you don't have to write an extensive amount of code to get a personalized page. And this is where it basically made a click in my head. And once you start to combine all the elements that Hubble has, and just a tip, if something is not documented in the docs, since Hubble is based on Ginger, so another templating language, you can look for the Ginger documentation, and sometimes, or most times, things that are documented in Ginger will or might work also in Hubble. So this is just a little side note for people who are just getting into Hubble or HubSpot development. And
So
yeah.
is that let's say the cleanliness of the code and also the experience? I've always known that there was advantages related to just the CRM,
Mhm.
being right there. Is
Yeah.
that so? Basically, the CRM infrastructure is there, so you don't. If that wasn't there, you'd have to put way more in the code to provide those
Yeah.
experiences. Is that right?
Yeah. Uh, Definitely yes. And I mean, we are living in a world where our website is not just uh, like a piece of paper with your information, right? So a
Right.
website, so something I have heard at one point in the past was the website you have is or can be your best employee, right? Because the website is 24/7 online. It can do a lot of things for you and make the life of your employees a lot easier. And this is where the CRM comes in, where workflows are coming in, segmentation, like the whole CRM part, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, I think Hubble is just amazing, and
Yeah.
you can get, yeah,
Having that the tool set really
yeah,
so close, because I remember my first time, like, and this is where, like I said, it can be done in very bad ways too. And that's what happened. My first experience, it's like, okay, we gotta, I did some wireframing and I send it to the devs, and it's just like, I just want the website. I need 5-page templates. I didn't know that I had to explicitly state that I wanted to leverage all the HubSpot tools. So it came back to me, without using HubSpot CTAs and like
mm,
any of the tool set, because it was just some, CSS that they put in and kind of spits it out. It was like 4 times, as much code as was needed. I found out later. So I think that's what we're talking about here in that, um, and that's why when somebody's having, I guess, challenges, they feel like they're let's say they're coming from WordPress
mm-hmm,
and they feel so restricted
yeah,
in HubSpot because it's not a blank slate. Like what do you talk to people about to let them know that it's actually okay, and like it can be beneficial that it's not a blank slate? Like you shouldn't have to deal with the margins and padding as much as you do. Like I don't want you to have that much
right.
freedom.
So, I mean, I work with companies who are maybe not on WordPress. Some are, obviously. And the thing that I am trying to teach them or bring to them is like in WordPress, most WordPress themes are extremely flexible. So when you put in a button, you can style it every time. But this means also you have to style it every time, unless your theme allows you to use some sort of global savings or something like that. So this means that you, as a page creator or marketer, you have to create every page, every module, basically everything every time the same. And this leaves a lot room for errors, right? And in HubSpot, if you set it up right, or if you're utilizing a, let's say, marketplace theme or boilerplate, those are two options. Something that you set up once are, for instance, buttons. right? And this is one of the most crucial things in web development, like a button, because this is a CTA, the most used CTA. And so in HubSpot, it's more like set and forget, right? There are some approaches, and I will talk about two of them later. I mean, it always depends on, do you want more flexibility or do you want more, let's say, corporate identity or corporate branding? So it's always, I would say, a thin line. And what I do with the companies I'm working with is always, or I'm asking them always, like, do you want more flexibility or do you want more the corporate stuff, right? And most of them are answering like, we don't want flexibility because we have so hard style guides, we can't move even a pixel, right? And there are ways that we developers can implement into themes or modules to allow the user some sort of flexibility, but also staying inside the corporate guidelines, right? And I have prepared both options, I would say, and we can talk about that. Better to say, I will show you how this can be done. And yeah.
Yeah, I think we could just jump right in.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
said you're going to have an example for us.
Yes. So let's say this window here. Okay, perfect. Let me move this up. Okay, so a button, right? It basically looks like this if it's not styled. Let me reset everything. So a button, okay? And many users and companies are implementing icons into their buttons because it's a bit more clicky, it's a bit fresh, it's not so, I would say, 2000s like. And so one of the best known libraries out there is Font Awesome. Like Font Awesome, it's an icon library. It has around 28,000 of icons in several font weights, styles, and so on. And there is a free version and a paid version of that. And the free version is already included in HubSpot, but many companies are using the pro version for obvious reasons. And to show you how this can be done in a single module, because if I would write a theme, I would change a few parts of that. So for instance, if we dive right into the code, I am including the Font Awesome library, which I created for this demo only, in this module. And if the button would be a part of a theme, I wouldn't do that. And the icon library looks a bit like this. So it's the source code or script tag, which you get from a Font Awesome kit. I've just nulled this important part, but it looks like this. And then you get basically all the Font Awesome icons into the button or everywhere in your theme, wherever you place or utilize the Font Awesomes or Font Awesome icons. And something you can do as a developer, as a marketer, as somebody who requests something from a developer, you can think about it like this. So, for instance, you can request a predefined icon. So, predefined icons is something that you are using a lot of times, right? So, for instance, I have created here a simple list of predefined icons. I can simply select it and it will change the icon, right? And what I do if I implement predefined icons, I'm always implementing the custom option. So this means it's a simple text field and you can put in something like the home icon. I'm just typing it in here because I know it's available. But for instance, if we go to Font Awesome and go to icons, let's 33,000 icons, by the way. So we can use something like the star, and I'm just clicking here on the name because this is how I have implemented that. And I can copy that here and it's gonna be a star. So something that I'm always implementing is predefined or custom icons. Then again, since it's a button, we have a button label like click me or download the white paper, right?
Yeah.
It just works.
Yeah.
And
And I think like what I'd like to highlight here is this sidebar that you're working in
yeah,
is the UI that, you know,
yeah,
I've taught like very non-marketing people, like scientists or application engineers to come in and like manage their own content
yeah,
inside of HubSpot because, and this is what we mean when you do it the right way, like we might involve a developer like Anton to build this module one time, but now it's built in a way that we can train, very non-coder,
right,
non-savvy people to come in and do what they need to do. And I love this, especially when you like personalizing to the level of, hey, sales
yeah,
team, like if we can, uh, if you could create a landing page for every demonstration you do or every proposal, like you're already doing that in PowerPoint, like slides.
yeah,
What if we could do it as, website pages? And then instead of sending a deck, we're bringing people back to the
yeah,
website, right?
right,
So this is super powerful.
yeah. And I mean, great call out. And I mean, the sidebar is basically the power of HubSpot, I would say, because we developers, or basically HubSpot itself, allows you to reuse modules, how they are called in HubSpot, and modify it to your needs, right? So, as you said, you're building a landing page. On this landing page is gonna be download the white paper. On the other one, join the webinar. On the third one, it's gonna be X, Y, Z. And you don't rely on a developer to make those changes if it's coded good, right? This has to be underlined because I know some, how should I say it? Like some instances where even the buttons were hard coded. I
Yep.
have seen those cases. To be honest, it can make sense in some cases, but most times I'm just, when I create modules, I am trying to give the user as many options as possible so they can work completely free and don't have to worry about things like, hey, do I need Anton to make a change or something like that? Because working in the web might be something new to people. And yeah, I'm just trying
Yeah.
to minimize all the stress they might get, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where
And
like when we're talking about, free
yeah,
WordPress versus HubSpot, which is very much not free,
yeah,
although you can build a whole website still with
yeah,
free HubSpot. Uh and not have to worry about all the security and all the
yeah,
maintenance and that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But that's where understanding that people are used to needing
yeah,
to go to somebody else to get the thing done. So there's a bit of training, even if they want to, right? You
yeah.
got to highlight things like this to say, this is why, you're paying for
Mm-hmm.
HubSpot. And honestly, the fact that there's still nothing really comparable as far as like CRM
Yeah,
plus CMS together
yeah,
like this, it's just
yeah,
you have to use it in order to see the value. But this is why I refer to HubSpot as like, if you're not using the website, it's a communication management,
mm-hmm.
platform. But if you are, it turns into a customer experience management platform.
Exactly.
Because like you
Yeah,
say, you set up the website to be a 24/7 salesperson, 24/7 service person, not to replace those people, but to help them scale the amount that they can do,
yeah,
every day. And, sometimes it's just helping them sometimes create things on the fly like they would in a Word doc or a PowerPoint anyways. We're
yeah,
just doing it in a more repeatable way. Uh, it sometimes it doesn't replace the one-to-one call. You make it before you
mm-hmm.
send it to them, then you have the call, and then
Yeah,
you send it to them after, right?
right. Especially since you've mentioned that right now, um, HubSpot doesn't replace the one-to-one communication, but it can help you connect the right people together. So, for instance, if we are talking about chatbots and workflows and such, you could set up something like, if the visitor answers following questions with the predefined answers, it will, or she will be connected to this person. If the answers are gonna be something different, it's gonna, or she gonna be connected to person B, right? And this is also an enormous benefit of CRM data. And um, yeah,
Yeah, that's that's why I always think of RevOps and customer experience
yeah,
together. Um, that's where HubSpot. That's why I say things like it's the most affordable,
yeah,
platform for what it can actually do for most businesses. And
yeah,
since you can do it in a way that doesn't require all this external support,
yeah.
like it's just different. Like you truly, what they've done in the last 18 months,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing like it that's existed
Yeah,
before. That's why I appreciate them trying to create this new category of customer platform, because it really can, I think, for the first time in a maybe sustainable way, create that 360-degree view, that unified view of customer activity, all
yeah,
the way from, dare I say, some intent data, on the web as website visitors, all the way through, to champions
yeah,
that are referring your products and services to other people.
exactly. Yeah. So, yeah,
So if somebody's
yeah,
been thinking about this, they know it exists, but they haven't even
mm-hmm.
used any kind of CMS functionality yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's a good place? Either like a safe space to go click on some stuff in HubSpot, or maybe some resources that they could check out.
Uh, so if you are just starting with the idea of getting into HubSpot, it depends, I would say. So if you want to check out the CMS functionality itself, I would suggest to create a free account, just because HubSpot offers a free account. But side note, the free account is obviously limited in many functions. And just a small little tip, if you want to experience almost or what is possible in HubSpot, my personal go-to approach or how to get a real demo version of HubSpot is by going to developers.hubspot.com. So this is the developer page where you can learn about the APIs, about the CMS, about everything. And what you can do is create a developer account. And you have several options here. You can either create a CMS developer sandbox, which is great for testing out the CMS. And if you want to test out a lot of things, you can create an app developer account. And inside this app developer account, you can create up to 10 CMS sandboxes for free. And those sandboxes are a bit different than this account. And you can test out everything. And just a little disclaimer, the accounts you create here can't be used for putting your real website up or all the CRM data. Those are test accounts and they are limited in the most, let's say the most important pieces you can't access or places you can't access. Like you can't connect domains to those accounts, obviously, because those are test accounts, not live accounts. And there are some other limitations, but for testing purposes, perfect.
Yeah. Basically, any kind of external communication
Yeah,
activity you won't be able to do, of
right.
course.
Right.
So just get in there and kind of test things out. And but the community is really great too. You guys
Yeah.
do a great job with the developer hug, and I know the
Thank you.
developer mentor program, just started too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably never been a better time,
Yeah.
to get started as a HubSpot developer.
Yeah.
Because we're getting closer and closer to blank slate in terms of however blank slate it's going to get under HubSpot,
Yeah.
which I always appreciate the guardrails, and I try to help
Mm-hmm.
people
Yeah.
understand why the guardrails are so valuable. Because even in these other systems, since they're built on a blank slate, no matter how much theme management you bring in,
Yeah.
you still can do whatever you want to the button. And that's when the maintenance costs just
Exactly.
become, you can't scale. And anytime there's a logo fix, you got to just change everything manually. And
Yeah.
there's immense value in kind of taking those, as you referred to it, there's stress, there's mental
Mm-hmm.
load when you have to
Yeah.
be worrying about that stuff. But it's also hard from our perspective to explain, like, no, you promise you don't have to worry about any of that stuff,
Yeah.
just because everybody's used to that life. So just always understand, like, as we're working with new people and they're trying to take advantage of these tools, taking a minute to unpack, the things that they're used to, the things that they're used to seeing, and helping at least understand, like, are they valid concerns? Why shouldn't they be? Because we're in HubSpot now, things like that.
Yeah.
So this has been awesome, man. I think there's so much that we could talk about here.
Yes.
CMS, like, again, between CMS and Commerce Hub, there could be just a boatload more content out there.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited to, you know, have you on for the first time, and if you like the experience, maybe we can have you on
Of course.
again.
And just to outline, I mean, we have just scraped the surface of this simple button, because something like this is also just a matter of an option, right? Or something like this, like all the font awesome options can be implemented quite simple. Also something that I always implement if the user or company requires that is something like, we want an individual styling or consistency with primary and secondary styling. So I'm just leveraging the CSS classes, or the
Yep.
module styling option.
Yeah, that way, like, later on when the new boss comes in and they want to change the color, I have to change it in one spot,
Yeah.
and now all your pages are done. Yeah, I think it'd be cool, next time we chat, to kind of
Mm-hmm.
break down the sidebar.
Yeah,
When you talk
definitely.
about theme settings and
Yeah.
difference between themes, templates, modules, sections. It's
Oh,
always a fun conversation to
there's a
have.
lot.
Yeah. So awesome, man. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
you
Thank
taking the
you.
time today. And I think just if you're thinking about your website and
Mm-hmm.
you wish that like you don't have to wait for the developer to
Yeah.
be able to fix the problem, or you just wish you had more control, check out some of these resources. Check out what you have already available to you in your HubSpot portal. Find some opportunities, and let's grow. Have a great day,
Perfect.
everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
Anton.
Thank you.